It's a great gift and a wonderful thing to know that you have a partner who represents themselves to be who they are, that you can trust them with your heart and have the confidence in them and know that they'll never steer you wrong. They are the one person in the world that you truly can count on.
Are you married or in a committed relationship looking for real advice on having love and enriching your relationship? You are in the right place. Welcome to The Couples Expert with Stuart Fensterheim.
Hello and welcome to the podcast. This is Stuart Fensterheim, the Couples Expert, bringing you the next installment in my ongoing quest to change the world one relationship at a time, one couple at a time. This week's podcast is about the meaning and characteristics of loyalty in your love relationship. We might think about loyalty as just being monogamous, not having an affair, but there's far more to it. It's not just about being faithful. It's about living up to your commitments and obligations that you've made to your partner, your relationship, and also your friendships. You can't allow yourself to be manipulated by outside influences. Being loyal means being true to your partner in a deeply devoted emotional way. And the loyalty that I saw this week was pretty amazing. And I want to share that before we get into the podcast. It's related somewhat. I went to a convention this week, a convention of podcasters. What's so impressive and amazing is every single one of those people had a dream. The dream to share their message. And that's really my quest, is to share a message of love and never giving up on yourself, your partner, and having a love that can last forever. So often people do that. And what I saw this week is hundreds of people dedicated to learning as much as they can, like a sponge, taking in how to get their message out to all of you. And that's what I do every week. I think about what can I do to give more, to give out more freely without cost. And the reason I do that is what I know is that people need a helping hand. When we feel lonely and alone in a relationship, there's nothing more painful than that. And what I hope this podcast is for all of you is your go-to place so that you can come and join me in my home, in my safe place, in my happy place, as Peter Pan once said. The happy place that is about love, feeling like you have someone in your life that truly has your back. And that's what I was able to see. And when you're around people like that, all it can do is jazz you up. And that's where I came back fully jazzed, fully ready to give even more. And I want you to keep an eye out here at this podcast, because we're going to be doing some really incredible things in the next 30, 60, 120 days. And what I want to have all of you recognize is that you are my best asset. Your loyalty to me has been impressive. And it's been wonderful to see the podcast and our downloads growing. And it's really because of all of you. So please send me a note, send me an email, send me a pigeon if you have to, or I've started getting into this show on HBO. Send me a raven and really help me know what you need from me, what you would like to hear me podcast about. How can I offer you something more than I'm doing? A quote today before we start the podcast really says what I wanted, the message beautifully. The crowning characteristic of love is always loyalty. Jeffrey Holland said that. And that's really what our podcast is about today. I'm going to be talking about those characteristics of loyalty that you want to have in your relationship. We're going to define the behaviors that are included in being loyal to your partner in a loving relationship. One of the most important characteristics of being loyal to your partner is really respecting them completely and even being respectful of their weaknesses. Now, what does that mean? What that means are several things. One, that you need to discreetly be helping them to compensate for that so they don't ever feel embarrassed by you. That you are the one that they know will protect them in that way. That if your partner is forgetful, for example, and loses things, you don't want to make that public because it could be hurtful to them. It may be a failing that is really meaningful and would really hurt them down deep if others knew about this. Now, you might not agree, or you might not even understand why that would bother them. But it doesn't matter because it does bother them. And you recognize that your love and your commitment to them is not to anything that they would feel bad about. So what do? You help them to compensate this by leaving notes and reminders and helping them find the things they misplace without judging them or humiliating them. Never shame your partner about something that they've shared with you, because that insecurity or weakness that they've shared vulnerably, you need to respect. You never want to share a weakness with them because you want to be able to share a weakness of yours with them. When the two of you do that, there is a bond that gets created. There is a security of knowing that our partner knows something about us that no one else knows. And there's a trust that's in that says, no matter what, they would never use that against you. And the pain and anguish that comes to relationships where it has happened is great. One funny example of this, let me give you an example in my life, is my dog Ollie. Ollie can't catch anything. He is deathly afraid of glass plates, so if we give him a little bit of table food, we try not to do it on a glass plate because he won't even come near it. My wife and I joke. We know that he's a wimp, but we tell Ollie that we won't tell the other dogs. As a yellow lab, he wants to be one of those cool dogs and have a reputation for being able to catch a ball, go after a frisbee, and that he's going to protect us beyond anything else. And what we tell him, and we do that lovingly and caringly, and with a hug and a kiss, is don't worry, Ollie. Your mom and dad would never tell the other dogs about that. That's just between the three of us. It's a family secret. And then he smiles, gives us a kiss, and says, where's more scraps? And where's my cookie? Keeping your partner's confidences is a characteristic of loyalty. Anything your partner confides in you should absolutely be protected. You should never share it with anyone, not your best friend, not your mother, not your priest, not your rabbi, nobody. This needs to be top security clearance. It just slipped out is not an excuse. You should always have your partner's back, and they should be able to tell you anything without fear that you'll betray them in any way. Loyalty really does mean that you can tell each other anything, no matter how embarrassing, fearful, or negative, and you not only keep the confidence, you'll lock it away in a vault where it goes untouched and never be brought up again unless the person that told you about it says we can bring it up. That protection has to be something that you as a partner hold true. Another characteristic of loyalty is about siding with your partner, even if you're not in total agreement with them. Publicly, you'll never stand against them. You should talk about this privately. You should never undermine your partner publicly or in front of the kids. This is one that I don't see a lot of people doing, especially if there's stress or trouble in the relationship. When the relationship is struggling, they tend to move away from a loyal stance and see their partner in such a negative light. We know that's what happens with a relationship negative cycle, that you begin to see your partner as the worst definition that you can imagine. You oppose them and then take the opposite side in arguments. What happens is this perpetuates it and then reinforces the feeling that there's no loyalty in the relationship. The rules go out the window and people begin to betray each other in very demeaning, negative ways. And there are actually a negative assault on the partner publicly. So that when someone brings something up, a topic of a light discussion with friends, you turn to each other and you criticize your partner for having alternate position as yours. And then what happens when you get home? What's that feel like to both of you? Being loyal in your relationship means that you have a commitment to your partner to be there for them emotionally and physically whenever you're needed. A truly loyal partner puts their well-being of their partner first and foremost ahead of everything. And sometimes even give the person priority over your own needs. When your partner needs you, you're there. There's no hesitation. You're never too busy or have something that could be even remotely more important than being there for your partner. You may have to give up some time with your friends or time at the ball game or a fun time if your partner truly has a need. You have to be willing to be depended on to show up whenever they need you. Now, here's the key to this. If you turn to your partner and say, I need you, those words should not be taken lightly. You should never utter a word like that unless it's true. Being loyal and faithful to your partner means you've thought about the consequences to them and knowing that they're going to show up for you. You don't pull that card unless you truly, truly need it. As I'm recording this podcast, I'm thinking of the word loyalty and trying to come up with adjectives that really define the whole thing. Tell me what you think by commenting on my website, if you would, because I really think that these letters and the words that I've associated to each letter really are meaningful. Here's how it goes. We have loyalty, Loyalty. L, that was sort of the easy one, love. Loyalty really equals love. When we love someone, we are loyal to them. We want to protect them. We want to keep secrets. We want the two of us to have something special, something that a look, a smile, a frown, whatever we do, we want it to be our secret language because our partners and I love us so much that we're in this together. So that's L. O, openness. When you're in a loyal relationship, there is a freedom that comes with that, an openness, an exciting place where you're just totally vulnerable and totally open to your partners, both their feedback, you interpret the right way, and when you give feedback, they don't hear it as criticism. They hear it as the love that's in your heart for them to be the best that they can be. Why? Youthful. When we're in a loyal relationship, a relationship that's working, we don't feel more alive than any other time in our life. Remember when you first met your partner. how exciting it was. You stayed up all night talking. You were just so excited. That fulfillment that came with that someone in this big wide world loves you more than anything, and that the two of you are in this together. You couldn't get enough of each other. You wanted to talk all night long, stay together. Their smell drove you crazy. The love that you felt made you feel so young and so alive. So Y equals youthful. A, adore. One of the most cool things that I feel about my wife is I absolutely adore her. When I see her across the room, it's an adoring look. When I see her smile or I see her just standing there, her posture, it's just so fulfilling that I have her in my life. I adore her. So A is for adore. L, listen. When we're loyal to someone, we'll listen to just about anything. Anything they have to say, any feedback, any reaction, any thought. When you talk about politics, when you talk about religion, when you talk about your relationship, when you talk about the kids, when you talk about their job, even if their job is boring, you want to listen because it's them talking about it. There's something unique about hearing their voice, their intonation, and the love that's in their heart for you. You want to listen. T, that one was easy. Trust. T is for trust. We trust people who are loyal to us. We trust that they're not going to hurt us. We trust their words. We trust that they are the person in our world that we can always count on what they tell us is true. And I had an article recently come out about white lies or a lie is a lie is a lie. We need to know that their words is something that we can count on and trust. And last but not least, the last Y, yearning. We yearn for the love. We yearn to be vulnerable. We yearn to have a relationship that's special, and we are willing to do whatever it might take to get there. And that's loyalty. I'm going to have this in my show notes so you can see it. Comment on it. Give me your thoughts. Thank you for listening to my rambling on this topic. So let's get back. Loyalty means keeping your promises, being truthful. Your partner should never have any doubt of that loyalty and the sincerity when it comes to the honesty and telling the truth. And as I was talking about this while I was going through the spelling of the word, you should have that kind of open, authentic, close relationship with your partner that allows you both the freedom to tell each other just about anything and talk about everything that impacts you and your lives together. And that trust in their responses is there. What goes along with that is the commitment to do what you say. When you say you'll do something or be somewhere, they can count on that. They have absolute confidence that every word coming out of your mouth is the gospel truth. You're not sugarcoating or manipulating. You're not trying to put forth any kind of hidden agenda. You're simply being authentic. It's a great gift and a wonderful thing to know that you have a partner who represents themselves to be who they are, that you can trust them with your heart and have the confidence in them and know that they'll never steer you wrong. They are the one person in the world that you truly can count on. One of the things I wanted to remind all of you about my podcast is that you can subscribe to these podcasts on iTunes or also on my website, which is www.thecouplesexperts.com. If you want to get notified every time one of these podcasts comes out, please subscribe to that there. I also do a 3-minute with Stuart video, as well as something I recently started called Stuart's Notes. And they're little tips every single day that you'll get in your inbox of something you can do to improve your relationship. Please subscribe to that and subscribe to my YouTube channel and leave me a comment and a review on iTunes on this podcast, because that's how I get the word out for everyone about the podcast. Because I truly want to help you and your partner to overcome any challenge that gets in the way of you feeling loved. All right, back to loyalty. There are a couple of important and very subtle differences between being loyal to our partners and being loyal to a friend. Of course, we want our partners to be our best friend, but having loyalty to a friendship is different, because in a love relationship, you take it to a much deeper level. And there are certain things, though, that we do the same. If we're loyal in a friendship, we don't badmouth our friends. If we're loyal to a friend, we defend them, we support them, we talk positively about them. We give honest opinions to our friends, but we do it in a way that's caring and loving. Loving in a different way, loving as a friend. And one of the things we never do with a friend that I see so many people doing is we don't test their loyalty. You take it for granted that your friends are true blue and that you're on the same page and that they'll be there for you. So often people want to test their love relationships. And we take time to learn about our friends and show loyalty to them by investing in the friendship, by sharing our true selves, sharing our stories, sharing our experiences. We trust our friends with all the good, the bad, and the ugly truths about our past, knowing that they will pick and choose the one that shows up in a positive way for us and their interpretation for us. And we talk about our future. And we seem to never run out of things to talk about. But yet I have couples in my office who said, yeah, Stuart, you said we should talk about things, but I don't know what we should talk about. And I say, talk about anything that matters to you. Talk about baseball. Talk about a TV show. Just keep talking. Talk about who you are and what's important to you. And know that your partner will care about it. We are there emotionally to support our friends through life and the relationships that we're in. And we're physically there for them. We're willing to drop everything and go to a friend to help work on their car. But yet if your wife or husband asks for you to do something around the house, we don't show up. We're too busy. We got too many things to do. Be your partner's best friend. Don't let them think that you're not there. And when they need you, and when they need a shoulder to cry on, or someone to tell them to straighten up because it's going to be okay and stay strong, we tell our friends those things. We sit with our friends when they're grieving, and we help support them and lift them up when they're sad, and we protect them when they're fragile. Be your partner's best friend. All of the things that I just talked about having to do with friendship are things that we need to do, but just on a deeper level with our partners. We need to be emotionally there and always sharing, empathetic, caring, not minimizing, and not catastrophizing. We want to take the things that bother our partners very seriously, but we also don't want to talk doom and gloom. It's a really tough challenge. And what it really comes down to is whether or not the two of you see each other as truly having each other's back. If you do, you're able to do that. I heard someone once describe themselves as loyal like a dog, and I thought that it was a great description of the depth of the loyalty we would be showing our partners. My dog Ollie is one of the most devoted, true, and faithful companions that you'd ever want to meet. And some of you have met him because he comes to my office. He's a therapy dog. And my wife and I joke that half the people that come to see me come because Ollie's there. And some of that's true because he is someone that makes you smile just as soon as you see him, because as he's walking down the hallway to my office, he's wagging his tail and he's bouncing and he's loving and he just makes you feel good. You could tell he's loyal. And I'm proud to call him my dog. And that loyalty helps me feel proud. I want the two of you to have a relationship with each other that you're proud that your partner is in your life because you don't question ever their loyalty. With dogs, you never question whether they'll abuse the love and take advantage of you because they give themselves wholeheartedly, warts and all. They adore you and love you unconditionally. It really is a great description of true loyalty. If we could only be that pure and loyal in our love relationships. Truth and trust are the foundation of a loyal relationship. When we're in love relationships, our loyalty should be without question. Now, here's part of the trick. Don't put yourself in a situation where your loyalty could be questioned. If there's someone that you're spending time with, whether it's a work situation or you've been thrown together and you might feel a little bit of chemistry with that person, or you find that person attractive, your loyalty demands that you remove that temptation from your life. Step back and realize that you're putting yourself in a dangerous situation. When you can be that self-aware and know that your relationship's so important, you will never allow yourself to be put in a situation like that. You're showing your loyalty by correcting it. And sometimes your loyalty will require you to have a conversation with your partner about it. You have to decide and determine that your partner, your relationship, are more important than any other emotional connection in your life. There can't be a cross connection. No, both relationships suffer with that. So don't fool yourself that you can handle it. I don't know many people that can. And most people, when I get to see them, that cross connection has destroyed whatever trust and loyalty has gone on in the relationship beforehand. The deeper emotions are in play when you're in a love relationship. We don't act in ways that put someone other than your partner as a priority. If you're giving of yourself emotionally to anyone other than your partner, sharing things about your life with people other than your partner, you're tinkering around in having an emotional affair. Now, I've got a number of podcasts on this, and I encourage you to listen to this if any of these issues are part of the question about, is my partner loyal to me? Am I in a relationship that could sabotage my current relationship? Don't play around with this. I want to end with 6 things that will define loyalty in your relationship. So I want you to pay attention to these. 1, be true to yourself. Know yourself and what you need in a relationship, and be able to communicate that to your partner. Never speaking other than the truth to your partner, and being self-aware and cognizant of the place that they hold. They need to be the number 1 priority in your life. Number 2, and this is the one we just sort of finished talking about, emotional fidelity. Emotional betrayal is disloyalty. Don't put yourself in a position where you're tempted to betray your partner by investing your emotional life into someone else. You can cause as much or more damage by doing this than if you had sex with 5 other people outside your relationship. If you ask people who have dealt with infidelity, the emotional betrayal is 10 times worse than the physical betrayal. Don't do anything that you have to hide from your partner. And we're talking here things like financial fidelity. If you're doing anything you know your partner won't like or won't approve of, and you're trying to hide it from them, that's being disloyal. You must always consider your partner's wishes and feelings in your decisions. The consequence of these actions are not only for you, they'll affect your partner as well. Number 4, share. Share your thoughts, share your feelings, share your fears, share your anxieties. Share honestly with your partner. Don't hold anything back from them. Tell all your secrets. They'll be safe with your partner. If you have that kind of bond, you have some loyalty that you can hold on to. White lies, not okay. Never deceive each other with white lies. Even the smallest untruth is disloyalty. You must be honest. Keep your promises. And above all, trust your partner enough to know that you can admit when you've done something you shouldn't have, that you might have hurt them. Don't compound it with a lie to try to cover it up. Loyalty means sticking with your partner through thick and thin, through all the good and bad that life brings you. Sickness and health, anxiety and calm, fear and joy, everything that life can throw at you, bad and good. Honoring those commitments that you've made to each other. Be able to look yourself in the mirror and know that you have an incredibly open, honest, and loyal relationship, the best one you know. Those are the things that will define loyalty for you. I want to take this final moment just to thank all of you, to thank you for joining me today on this Couples Expert podcast. You are such a loyal audience. You've been loyal to this podcast, and I appreciate you. I'd like to invite you to join me next week, because next week I'm talking about a topic that's near and dear to me, life after 60. Yes, after 60. But it's okay. I'm feeling better than ever, even though I'm going to be 61 this year. And I want to talk about how love and your life after 60, your love life, can be the best it can be. Sometimes I hear people saying it's all downhill from there. But what I like to say is when you get over the hill, that doesn't mean to the end of your life. It means things become easier. That if you're over the hill, you know yourself, and that your love is stronger, more intense, and more secure. Stay tuned next week. We'll talk how to accomplish that. Tune in and find out. Until next time, this is Stuart Fensterheim, the couples expert, saying be loyal, be true, be authentic, and above all, stay connected. Bye-bye.